News 9 Plus. Download now.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi and you're watching a special broadcast of top stories from our studios here in the National Capital Region. And this is your one-stop shop to understand and catch what the news pulse of the day essentially looks like. Like every day, we have an expansive list of stories to cover. We'll touch upon stories from back home here in India, domestic political movements, vis-a-vis some stories that are in your interest specifically. But we'll also touch upon the West Asian conflict between Israel and Hamas, some top global developments, elections happening across the globe. Climate change is also going to be our focus. We will touch upon a little bit on the entertainment and sports stories as well. But first and foremost, the top news this hour, let's bring this to your notice. The French police have now taken 2 men into custody. This is happening just a day after grounding of a Nicaragua-bound plane that was carrying over 300 Indian passengers. Now, the plane was grounded after it was suspected of being part of human trafficking. Indian authorities have also reached the spot and are currently investigating the ongoing situation. Now, France grounded the charter flight that was headed to Nicaragua carrying the 303 Indian passengers just on Friday to conduct a judicial investigation. The Airbus A340 belonging to Romanian charter company Legend Airlines had flown in from the United Arab Emirates and had landed at Vatry Airport in eastern France for a technical stopover. Currently, a probe in this particular matter is underway. Meanwhile, what we're picking up is that the French police have taken 2 men into custody. This after grounding of the Nicaragua-bound plane. It had 300 Indian passengers on board, and the plane was grounded after it was suspected of being part of human trafficking. And moving on, a Hindu temple has been vandalized with anti-India and pro-Khalistan slogans in California in the United States. The incident happened in Newark City. Now, the Hindu American Foundation shared the images on the microblogging website X, formerly known as Twitter. We've, of course, had to blur whatever was written, how the buildings and the facade of the Hindu temple was defaced. Now, on the particular post on the microblogging website, it revealed hateful messages against India and the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and it was all scrawled up on the temple's walls. Emphasizing the need for a thorough investigation, the foundation reported the incident as a potential hate crime to the Newark Police Department and the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Reacting to the incident, the Indian consulate in San Francisco has strongly condemned the defacement of the Swaminarayan Mandir Vasana Sanstha. The consulate expressed deep concern, stating that the act had offended the sentiments of the Indian community. Urging swift action, they confirmed that they had contacted U.S. authorities to initiate a quick probe into the matter and take prompt action against the alleged perpetrators. The tweet on your screens of the Indian consulate in San Francisco saying, "We strongly condemn the defacing of the SMVS Sri Swaminarayan Mandir at Newark in California with the anti-India graffitis scrawled on its walls. The incident has hurt the sentiments of the Indian community." Shifting our focus to the state of Karnataka next. But the Karnataka government, and it's a big move, has announced its decision to withdraw the ban on wearing of hijab. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah asserted that there is no effective hijab ban in the state, emphasizing that women have the freedom to wear what they want to. Wear anything they want, quote unquote, is what Chief Minister Siddaramaiah said. Now, these are some of those archived visuals that we're putting out there on the screen. And addressing a gathering in Mysore, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah had declared that hijab ban isn't there anymore. Women can wear hijab and go anywhere. I have directed to withdraw the ban order. How you dress and what you eat is your choice. Why should I obstruct you? He further emphasized the freedom of choice for people in the state. He said, and I quote, and take a look at this. He said, "Wear what you want, eat what you want. I will eat what I want, you eat what you want. I wear dhoti, you wear pant shirt. What's wrong in that?" asks the Chief Minister. Let's listen in to what Siddaramaiah had to say.
ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ದರ್ಶನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಬಂದು 7 ತಿಂಗಳಾಯಿತು. 7 ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಂತ 5 ದೊಡ್ಡ ಭರವಸೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಭರವಸೆಗಳನ್ನ ಈಡೇರಿಸಿದೆ. ಜನವರಿ 12ನೇ ತಾರೀಕಿಗೆ 5ನೇ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿನೂ ಕೂಡ ಜಾರಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಯುವ ನಿಧಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಜಾರಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ.
Well, now the controversy surrounding the hijab ban erupted back in 2022 when the BJP government, led by the then Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, imposed the ban in educational institutes in the state. The move had led to widespread protests and legal challenges, and the Karnataka High Court was involved in the entire fiasco. And the Karnataka High Court had upheld the ban, stating that wearing a hijab is not an essential religious practice of Islam, and educational institutes can set dress code for the students. Now, following the change in government just in June this year, Karnataka Minister Priyank Kharge had pledged to review and repeal any regressive laws that were enacted by the previous BJP government, according to the Congress party. Now, this included the controversial hijab ban and the anti-cow slaughter bill. Meanwhile, the Bharatiya Janata Party has also taken to it. BJP chief for the state of Karnataka says B.Y. Vijendra, he's criticized Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's decision, accusing him of promoting dividing young minds along the religious lines. And the debate over the hijab ban has raised concerns about the secular nature of educational spaces in the state of Karnataka. He went on to say that Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's decision to withdraw the hijab ban in educational institutions raises concerns about the secular nature of our educational spaces. It is crucial to prioritize education over divisive practices and foster an environment where students can focus on academics without the influence of religious practices.
See, number one, our Chief Minister has been always vocal about the food and culture of individual this thing. Since he has made this statement, I'll have a discussion with him, whatever his directions are there, then I'll have to, put forward from then onwards. I think since he has made a statement, let me talk to him and get back to you.
BJP is attacking, started attacking you.
BJP does everything, these kind of, this is very common for them. If at all our Honorable CM has said, I think it has got nothing to do with any politics. We don't have to do that, and we don't need that kind of this thing at this time. Somebody would have asked him. Yes. I saw the statement also. There was a crowd. From a crowd, somebody asked. I think when people ask, it's usually your, what he has been standing for. I think he has just said that. So let me talk to him and then get back to you.
I don't think Mr. Vijendra is aware of what the Constitution allows you to do and not to do. Whatever the government of Karnataka is doing is well within the law and as per the framework of the Constitution. So I would urge the BJP and their leaders to studiously have a look at the Constitution. See, like I have told you, any law, any policy, any scheme that is detrimental to the progress of Karnataka will be relooked, revised and removed if necessary. That's been our stand very clearly. And we will do whatever is necessary to ensure that Karnataka is back on the economic map of India.
Well, what's going to happen next in Karnataka is anybody's guess. BJP versus the Congress party at loggerheads. The BJP is saying that you're dividing young minds, and the Congress party is saying those were regressive ideas. If you want to eat what you want to eat, if you want to wear what you want to wear, well, go ahead and do so. Chief Minister himself says, I wear a dhoti, you wear a pant shirt. What's wrong in that? All about choice. Well, moving on, take a look at this. Wrestling champion Bajrang Punia has penned a letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, returning the Padma Shri award, all to protest Sanjay Singh's election as the Wrestling Federation of India president. On the Kartavya Path, the erstwhile Rajpath, where the 26th January parade essentially happens, police intercepted Bajrang Punia while he was en route to the parliament to meet the Prime Minister and surrender his Padma Shri medal alongside the letter. Subsequently, the wrestler set the medal on the pavement, on the Kartavya Path itself. Now, in Punia's open letter to Modi, penned, of course, in Hindi, he expresses that he cannot carry the honor of being a Padma Shri awardee whilst Indian women wrestlers faced insult. Meanwhile, Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi, she visited and met Bajrang Punia and Sakshi Malik. When asked about why this entire protest was being politicized, Priyanka Gandhi said that I went to meet Sakshi Malik as a woman, not as a politician. Meanwhile, Bajrang Punia, he has in fact given back his Padma Shri. He says the award Vapsi is in fact going to continue. Well, every day it's getting even more important to talk about COVID-19 again, bringing you the latest update of what the COVID situation essentially looks like across the country. COVID-19 cases are again on the rise in India with the emergence of the JN.1 subvariant. Again, the idea is not to create panic, but it's important to understand what's happening where as well. Now, the JN.1 subvariant, first case was reported in Kerala, and not only this, 5 fresh cases from there have been reported from West Bengal during the last 24 hours alone. Among the 5, 3 have been hospitalized as well, whilst 2 are under home isolation. That's the situation in West Bengal. Also, 5 cases have been reported in Rajasthan, and reports of a single fatality due to COVID-19 has also been reported. JN.1 is a descendant of the Omicron subvariant, which is scientifically called BA.2.86, and it carries an additional mutation in the receptor, binding the domain, making it more resistant and immune evasive, which is essentially why the second wave of COVID-19, the Omicron subvariant, was really hefty. Classified as a variant of interest by the World Health Organization, the JN.1 subvariant, the one that's on the rise and surge in cases right now at the moment, it possesses a particular risk to the elderly and those with multiple comorbidities, and this has been warned by the IMA COVID task force as well. Dr. Rajiv Jayadevan, who's heading the IMA COVID task force, has come up with this warning. Now, India recorded 594 new infections, increasing the active case load in the country at the moment to 2,669, with a death toll of 5,33,327. Totally, this is a collective death toll figure ever since the pandemic set on. Now, globally, WHO reports a 52% spike in new cases over the past month, ladies and gentlemen. Active cases currently in the country standing at 2,669. The total death toll that the country has recorded so far stands at 5.3 lakh. Meanwhile, in the last 24 hours alone, 594, essentially 600 new infections of the JN.1 variant that have been recorded. IMA COVID task force, Dr. Rajiv Jayadevan, beg your pardon, who's heading that particular task force, has warned people with multiple comorbidities and those elderly to be at the most risk. Well, stumbled upon Money9, my secret weapon for mastering finance and thriving the economy. Dive into the unparalleled financial wisdom with Money9, the ultimate app to decode finance and pocket real-time cash. Grab control of your financial journey starting right now. Take a look at this. We're cutting into a quick break here. We'll be back for more.
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए, और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है Money9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
Well, Download the Money 9 app if you haven't already. Download the News 9 Plus app if you haven't already. This is News 9, the Mediaverse, bringing all the news content to you. Well, news is content. Why don't you just stream it? All right, getting back to the news at the moment. In the aftermath of terrorist attack that claimed the lives of 4 army soldiers on Thursday in the Rajouri sector, an extensive search operation is currently underway to locate and apprehend the terrorists responsible. Now, the tragic incident occurred when terrorists ambushed 2 army vehicles transporting troops in Thanamandi in Rajouri. Now, during the attack, 4 army personnel lost their lives, 3 others sustained hefty injuries. The confrontation unfolded at about 3:45 p.m. on Thursday, when terrorists opened fire on the 2 army vehicles passing through Dera Ki Gali in Rajouri's Poonch region. In response to this grave threat, the security forces have intensified efforts to track down the ultras involved in the attack, emphasizing the importance of swiftly addressing the situation and ensuring the safety and security of the region. Well, the search ops to hunt down the culprits continues. The terrorists are hiding. The search and combing operations continue for the 3rd day now in Rajouri. Mobile services and internet services have been curtailed in the entirety of the area. Focus right now on the safety and security of the region. It was quite a dampening news when in the aftermath of that terrorist attack, 4 army soldiers lost their lives, 3 others got injured. Some visuals, pictures on your screens of the checking that is being done, the patrolling that has increased on the ground. Security and safety seems to be the key focus of the security forces at the moment. And next up, on Friday, the central government reinstated the 3rd stage of its anti-pollution measures in the national capital as the air quality index reached to 409 at 4 p.m. yesterday, categorizing it as severe. Now, consequently, non-essential construction activities and the operation of BS3 petrol and BS4 diesel 4-wheelers in the national capital have been prohibited. Now, the Commission for Air Quality Management, the CAQM, a statutory body tasked with devising strategies to address pollution in the region, has identified unfavorable weather conditions, specifically fog and haze coupled with low wind speed, as the primary contributors to the sudden escalation in the pollution levels in the national capital. Delhi's overall air quality index has exhibited a steady increase throughout the day, reaching 397 at about 10 a.m. and further rising to 409 at 4 p.m. According to Safar, today is going to be no different. Some of those march past practices that are taking place ahead of the Republic Day on the Kartavya Path, all amid a thick, dense blanket of smog.
दिल्ली में एक बार फिर हवा की गति मंद पड़ने और हवा की दिशा बदलने के कारण वायु प्रदूषण बढ़ गया है। दिल्ली गैस चैम्बर में तब्दील हो चुकी है। दिल्ली में अगर AQI की बात की जाए तो औसत AQI आज 441 है, जबकि कई ऐसे इलाके हैं दिल्ली में जहां पर जो हवा की कैटेगरी है वो बेहद खराब स्तर तक पहुंच चुकी है। दिल्ली में अगर बात की जाए शुक्रवार की तो दिल्ली का औसत AQI 409 था और 24 ऐसे इलाके थे जहां पर एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स वेरी पुअर कैटेगरी में पहुंच चुका था। हवा की दिशा शुक्रवार को नॉर्थ ईस्ट से साउथ ईस्ट की तरफ थी, लेकिन आज शनिवार की बात की जाए तो ये दक्षिण से पूर्व की तरफ चल रही है और हवा की जो गति है वो लगभग 9 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से है। और यही वजह है कि दिल्ली में अचानक से प्रदूषण बढ़ गया है और दिल्ली गैस चैम्बर में तब्दील हो चुकी है। आप देख सकते हैं कि सुबह सुबह दिल्ली के अलग अलग इलाकों में कुछ फॉग और स्मॉग की चादर है। ठंड काफी ज्यादा बढ़ चुकी है। जो तापमान है वो सुबह 6 बजे 10 डिग्री सेल्सियस दर्ज किया गया। और दिल्ली के अलग अलग इलाकों में अगर एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स की बात की जाए तो आप देख सकते हैं कि ये दिल्ली का जो एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स अलीपुर में 445 है, शादीपुर में 477 तक ये पहुंच चुका है। जबकि जो अलग अलग इलाके, सीरी फोर्ट में 435 है, ITO पे 472 है, मंदिर मार्ग का जो इलाका है वहां पर भी 448 है, RK पुरम में 466, पंजाबी बाग में 475 तक पहुंच चुका है। जबकि आप देखेंगे कि पूसा रोड पे 409 और मथुरा रोड पर 432 है। इसके अलावा JLN स्टेडियम के पास 451 और द्वारका में 437 है, जबकि पटपड़गंज में 462 है। यानी कि दिल्ली के ज्यादातर इलाकों की अगर बातचीत की जाए तो एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स वो 400 के ऊपर पहुंच चुका है। 200 के ऊपर जब एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स होता है तो हवा को खराब कैटेगरी में माना जाता है, और फिलहाल जो हवा की स्थिति है वो बेहद खराब कैटेगरी में है। और इसीलिए दिल्ली में एक बार फिर से ग्रेडेड रेस्पॉन्स एक्शन प्लान यानी ग्रैप 4 को लागू किया गया है, और इसके तहत जो BS3 की पेट्रोल और BS4 की डीजल गाड़ियां हैं उन पर बैन लगा दिया गया, और इसके साथ ही कंस्ट्रक्शन पर पूरी तरीके से रोक लगा दिया गया है। लोगों को एक बार फिर जैसे ही वायु प्रदूषण बढ़ा तो सांस लेने में तकलीफ होने लगी, आंखों में जलन होने लगी, और यही वजह है कि डॉक्टर अब लोगों को सलाह दे रहे हैं कि वो लोग सुबह के मॉर्निंग वॉक से बचें, हो सके तो घरों से बिना काम के ना निकलें। बुजुर्ग और बच्चे और गर्भवती महिलाएं अपना खास तौर से ख्याल रखें। जिस तरीके से सर्दी बढ़ रही है, हवा की जो रफ्तार है वो कम हो रही है और हवा की दिशा बदली, और यही वजह है कि अब एक बार फिर दिल्ली में वायु प्रदूषण बेहद खराब स्तर तक पहुंच चुका है।
And from the national capital, cutting across to the hill state of Manipur, where Chief Minister N. Biren Singh made a fresh appeal to the people to avoid any misunderstanding between communities. He said, and I quote, "You are here and everybody has seen that peace is restoring slowly. In the meantime, I want to appeal to everyone not to create any misunderstanding between the communities. We have to wait and watch what the government is doing because the need of the hour is peace." Listen in to the man yourself.
Peace is already just you are here and you have everyone has seen peace is restoring slowly, and in the meantime I want to appeal to the people and to everyone not to try to create any which can be created any misunderstanding between the community. So everyone has to be keep silent, and we have to wait and watch what the government is doing, because need of the hour is peace.
And well, next up, let's take you to the West Asian conflict between Israel and Hamas, the latest from the war front. The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being. Now, the UN Security Council approved a turned-down bid to boost humanitarian aid to Gaza on Friday. That stopped just short of a call for a ceasefire. And all of this happened hours after Israel signaled it was widening its ground offensive in the Palestinian enclave.
The United Nations Security Council on Friday approved a bid to boost humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. But the proposal was stripped of language calling for, quote, an urgent and sustainable cessation of hostilities in order to allow aid deliveries after the United States threatened to veto the motion. Instead, it calls for steps to, quote, create the conditions for a sustainable cessation of hostilities. This change frustrated other UN members. Here's the United Arab Emirates envoy to the UN, Lana Nusseibeh.
We know this is not a perfect text. We know only a ceasefire will end this suffering.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Friday said Israel's operation was the primary obstacle in delivering desperately needed assistance.
A humanitarian ceasefire is the only way to begin to meet the desperate needs of people in Gaza and end their ongoing nightmare.
Nowhere is the dire need for aid more apparent than here in Deir al-Bala, in the Gaza Strip, where a school has been transformed into a field hospital. Surgeon Bashir al-Hurani said this patient should be in a proper hospital, but because of overcrowding, was transferred here.
We have nothing. Medical supplies are not available. Beds for patients are not available. Sterilization tools are not available. We are suffering from the lack of medical staff, medical supplies, and medicine.
Aid trucks lined up at the Kerem Shalom crossing from Egypt into Gaza on Friday. Israel says since the start of the latest conflict, more than 5,400 vehicles carrying humanitarian aid have been allowed in. Here's Israeli Colonel Moshe Tetro.
Our war is with Hamas, and we seek to reduce the impact on the people of Gaza. Since the beginning of the war, we have set up several mechanisms for continuous assessments of the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip.
Israel launched a massive military retaliation against Hamas fighters after the Palestinian militants attacked Israeli communities on October 7th, killing 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and taking hundreds captive. The death toll has been staggering. Dr. Marwan Al-Hams is the director of the Abu Yusuf al-Najjar Hospital. He said that Friday marked the 77th day of fighting, and the number of Palestinians killed had topped 20,000. Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant on Friday said the military operation was gradually completing its goals in the northern Gaza Strip. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government has vowed to eradicate Hamas. Washington has regularly backed Israel's right to defend itself, but has grown increasingly concerned at the suffering of Gaza's 2.3 million people.
Well, time for us to slip into a quick commercial break here. Lots more continues right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
The scale of the attack was something that we were surprised at. David Hadley was a double agent. The Americans did not want him to be fully exposed, so all that he probably shared with the Americans was not shared with us in terms of intelligence. If we had that, I'm sure that we would have been able to deal with the situation far better.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
Since the last 2 years, Khalistani terror groups are threatening Indian diplomats in Canada, US, UK and Australia. Investigations of these threats led us to the first ever abduction and killing of an Indian diplomat, Ravindra Matre, in UK's Birmingham in 1984. Our months-long investigation finally led us to the murderer of Ravindra Matre, who has been hiding in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir for the last 40 years. Watch our exclusive documentary, Murder of an Indian Diplomat, where we reveal the man who killed Ravindra Matre.
Stop searching, start streaming. Download the world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
Pakistani spy agency ISI's sinister plan to target India. Training women to honey trap top civil and military officials. Counter honey trapping ops initiated by India. But gullible victims still caught in the web. Top military intelligence experts break down the web of deception. Colonel Hani Bakshi explains the phenomena of honey trap.
जहाँ पे भी आपको लगेगा, उनको लगेगा कि there is a person who is susceptible to women, who's making a lot of women friends on the social media. That is where they will make a
spoof account and then start luring the person.
Colonel Pavitran Rajan decodes the psyche of the victim and the predator.
But when you go up the chain, no one enforces it to people at the top. That disciplinary regime and the security regime is not enforced at the top. And they usually have a public profile where it is much more easier to approach that person.
A News 9 special on how modern technology has added teeth to the ancient spying tactic.
Our story takes you inside Pakistan's honey trap machine.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
Welcome back. You're watching News 9 Live. Some top global developments that are coming up next. Now, vanity and sustainability. Can these be weighed together on the Libra scales? Take a look at this. In the realm of luxury jewelry, some buyers value pieces crafted from lab-grown gems and recycled materials. Designs like the poppy earrings, made from recycled aluminium, reflect this emphasis on sustainability, featuring lab-grown diamonds and pearls grown through regenerative framing. Here's a report.
6 of these can turn into an ingot like this, that can then be cast into a pair of earrings like this.
These poppy earrings are made of recycled aluminum. They were crafted by London-based designer Annabella Chan, whose jewelry designs rely on lab-grown diamonds, recycled aluminum, and pearls grown using regenerative farming techniques. Chan says she chose her materials after witnessing what she said were poor working conditions in diamond mines in Sri Lanka.
And that for me was a life-changing experience. So seeing the conditions of how people worked and how little they were paid, and yet these are some of the most precious and valuable commodities there are in the world, just didn't make any sense to me.
In order to make diamonds, Chen relies on suppliers who use technology to capture carbon dioxide emissions that would otherwise be released into the atmosphere.
Diamonds are made of carbon, sapphires are made of corundum, which is an aluminium oxide, rubies are aluminium oxide with chromium. So once you know what things are made of, you can sort of work backwards. So laboratory-grown gemstones are about mimicking the conditions within the earth where gemstones are formed, but in a controlled environment.
In November, the young designer won the Game Changer category at the British Luxury Awards. Chan's company does not give sales figures, but says it has seen strong demand since the COVID-19 pandemic. The lab-grown jewelry market has seen annual growth of 20% in recent years, driving global profits to $15 billion. That's according to Edan Golan Diamond Research and Data. As more producers enter the market, the price of lab-grown diamonds has fallen, and brands are looking to differentiate themselves, especially through designs. Joshua Brahman is the head of diamonds at Pandora, a major retailer of lab-grown diamonds.
Customers buying lab-grown diamonds can enter for a variety of reasons. Maybe for them, the sustainability factor is important. Maybe it's the price-value equation, right? In our case, we believe it's both of those things, but also that we offer really an array of proprietary and very interesting, meaningful, emblematic designs.
For Chan, it's about creating a fine jewelry brand that's highly crafted, but also sustainable and accessible for a broader customer base.
I think working with laboratory-grown diamonds and laboratory-grown color stones for me really brings a glimpse into the future of what fine jewelry looks like, because I think it is about a celebration of science and art together.
Meanwhile, as Christmas festivities illuminate the world, President Joe Biden joined the First Lady Jill Biden in continuing an 81-year-old tradition with a visit to Children's National Hospital, spreading the holiday cheer.
And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap.
the mayor and I have I'm going to promote him. I'm going to make him a congressman. All right. And look, I want to thank all the staff here. It's special what you do. And Mom and I, Jill and I, spent time in the same like you parents did with our children and other circumstances. But, you know, that old expression, there's life, there's hope. Hopefully you're all going to be here. Hopefully you kids are going to come back when you're out of the hospital and hang out with other kids who you know what it's like, right?
Meanwhile, in the run-up to the Christmas season, winter is breaking records in northern Asia, with temperatures in China and South Korea hitting new lows in the recent weeks. The prolonged and notably colder temperatures hint at a potential disruption in the usual circular flow of cold air around the Arctic, known as the polar vortex. This natural barrier normally keeps Arctic air from venturing into lower latitudes. Now, Met Department experts attribute North America's occasional bitter cold snaps to the polar vortex's disruptions. The high-speed atmospheric current, typically moving from west to east at altitudes of 50 km, has faced scrutiny for its wavering behavior earlier as well. Meanwhile, temperatures continue to plummet in northern Asia. Meanwhile, Shanghai is currently witnessing its coldest December period in 40 years as the Chinese financial hub faced weather warnings of low temperatures, strong winds, marking the onset of a prolonged cold spell. Take a look at this.
When we step outside, we will wear a hat and gloves. Today I also changed to a longer, thicker down jacket. For little children, you dress them with things like face masks because it's really cold. It's really easy to get sick when you breathe cold air. And then there's a hat and windproof clothing, especially for children. I will also give them a scarf like this.
Cold. Today is extremely cold. It is colder than the past few days.
Moving on, Madrid's Regional Assembly on Friday passed a proposal by the Spanish capital's ruling Conservative People's Party, the PP, to strip back protections for transgender people, sparking outcry from the opposition and the LGBTQ activists.
Madrid's Regional Assembly on Friday passed a proposal by the ruling Conservative People's Party to strip back protections for transgender people, sparking outcry from the opposition and LGBTQ activists. The bill amends 2 LGBTQ laws passed in 2016. Under the reform, discriminating against workers based on gender identity or sexuality, and beating someone without causing injury based on gender identity or sexuality are no longer punishable offenses. The PP's Monica Levin defended the reform as a way to stop what she described as social engineering, and said the reform returns, quote, rigor and science to the protection of LGBTQ people. Carla Antonelli, a trans assembly member for the left-wing Mas Madrid party, called the bill an abomination and told reform supporters, quote, you will have blood on your hands. In the bill, lawmakers replaced the terms trans people and gender identity with transsexuals and transsexuality, terms that activists say are outdated and demeaning. Under the reform, the region's underage trans people will now need an evaluation by a pediatrician and a psychologist or psychiatrist before seeking transition-related health care. The option of changing names on regional documents before adapting the national ID was also eliminated. In December 2022, Spain passed a nationwide bill allowing transgender people aged 14 and over to change their legal gender without the need for psychological or other medical evaluation. Most of Spain's 17 regions have laws for the protection of LGBTQ people. Madrid is the first to roll back such legislation. Mas Madrid said it would ask Spain's human rights ombudsman to challenge the law before the Constitutional Court.
Next up, In an exclusive interview with News 9's Deputy Managing Editor Kartikeya Sharma, Congress MP from Tamil Nadu's Sivaganga, Karthi Chidambaram, said that on Parliament breach, all that the opposition wanted was a statement from the Home Minister in the presence of the Prime Minister. He went on to say that since their demands were not met, they were forced.
Welcome to the interview. Turbulent winter session of Parliament ended a day ahead of the schedule. Country witnessed a logjam, unprecedented. 140 opposition MPs were suspended. The session was held against the backdrop of the result of the assembly polls in 5 states. Then the Parliament security breach took place. Then the mimicry controversy took place. On this issue, I am joined by an MP from Tamil Nadu, Sivaganga, Karthi Chidambaram. A very warm welcome to you, Karthi, on my show, The Interview. And let me straight away ask you, why did this session fail?
No, this session failed only because of the ego of the government. After the December 13th trespass, security failure, intelligence failure and intrusion into the Lok Sabha, all we wanted was a statement from the Home Minister in presence of the Prime Minister. They could have easily given a statement on what happened and what is the way forward, and the entire House would have been won. But the ego of the government prevented them from doing that, and our legitimate requests, demands were not met. Then we were forced to protest, and then en masse we have been suspended. Nowhere in the democratic world can you suspend practically the entire opposition and get away with it. But in India, they have got away with it because they have a brute majority, and we can't expect the judiciary to step in on this issue. And they have been ramming through laws one after another. Yes, they would have passed them even if we were there, but we didn't even have an opportunity to record our dissent or a divergent view to these far-reaching laws they have brought about, which is going to have a huge impact on day-to-day life of the people of India. So this is totally, if this is going to be the trend, this is the end of parliamentary democracy.
But Karthi, why are you then still losing the battle of perception? If you look at the wider narrative outside, BJP didn't lose sympathy. Why has that happened?
No, we are going to communicate. We are going to go. We are constituency MPs. We will be traveling far and wide. We will definitely articulate a point of view. We will say how this government, which touts itself as a government of national security, is actually incompetent, is not able to even put proper protocols in Parliament to prevent an intrusion or an attack. I mean, just because there were no fatalities, don't underplay the import of the intrusion. If the two intruders had sarin gas or anthrax, there would have been huge fatalities. Instead of that, thank God they had some inert gas. And the security protocol failures, intelligence failures, and then silencing the opposition for asking a legitimate demands, then bringing about these far-reaching laws which are going to have such an impact. I mean, you have now amended how you are going to appoint the Chief Election Commissioner. I mean, now you don't even need that committee anymore. It's going to be the Prime Minister, a Cabinet Minister and the Leader of the Opposition. It's already 2-1. We don't even need to go for the committee anymore. And then you're in the guise of amending the IPC and sort of decolonizing it, you have made it's still very colonial, and you have made it far more draconian. I mean, many people have said why it's draconian. I can easily articulate why it's more draconian. Then you've got a telecommunications bill which allows all kinds of interceptions, which even wants encrypted messaging services to give the back end. I don't know how they are going to give the back end. I probably think they won't give the back end. Then we'll have to figure out how they are going to operate in India. And then the postal bill, which allows you to intercept any letter in the guise of national security. This umbrella of national security allows and empowers the government to do a whole host of things which are completely intrusive, anti-privacy, and can be easily weaponized to target political opponents.
I mean, to say, all these points could have been made in the parliament, all these points will be made by the opposition party in the constituencies.
We were.
But Karthi, my question is very straight. Generally, people think all these issues from the perspective of why this and why that. I am asking you, this one-day protest of Jantar Mantar is a shoot and scoot thing. I mean, say, where is a long campaign? The only long campaign your party had against the government was Bharat Jodo. This is one day of protest.
Jantar Mantar is because the day after, nobody is saying Jantar Mantar is the be-all and end-all of it. Parliament ended yesterday, so all the floor leaders and all the MPs are here. So we were able to congregate all of them together. But now we will fan out to the nooks and corner of India from today onwards. I will also be leaving tomorrow. All of us will leave tomorrow and we'll go to the nooks and corner of India and articulate. The fact I'm even talking to you today is in a way trying to win over hearts and minds with our point of view.
No, that's perfectly fair, but my question is that, it's the responsibility of the opposition to create the narrative. I mean, so it will never be the responsibility of the government to give you that space, Karthi.
No, I am not asking the government to do us any favors. I am just asking the government to be democratic within parliament. That's all I am asking. But we will go out, we will articulate. I, to the best of my ability, will definitely articulate. I will speak. We have a party mechanism in my constituency and in my state, and we'll use it. And I'm sure my colleagues will do the same everywhere else, and all the alliance partners will do the same everywhere else. Of course, we need to communicate better. Of course, we need to have a counter narrative. At the same time, we also need to tell what's happening. I mean, how far-reaching consequences these new laws are going to have on the daily life of people.
The issue in Parliament was two-pronged. One was the breach, and another doesn't belong to your house, but I would definitely like you to speak, this mimicry issue. How do you see this mimicry issue? The President of India,
listen to me,
the entire party, the public protest, how do you look at it? They all came out in his support.
No. First, it is not just a mere security breach. It is an intelligence failure. There were 6 people who were conspiring for a long time. They have done a dry run. They have discovered that the shoes are not checked. They have discovered that the plastic is not detected by these scanners. This government has spent so much money on scanners and they can't detect plastic. So a Unabomber kind of situation could have happened. So that is a colossal intelligence failure. There is a colossal security failure. Then the response of the security staff within the parliament was also very sloppy. They were not swift. They are not necessarily trained to deal with these kind of situations. So the whole system, it exposed the fact that this government doesn't have the wherewithal to manage. Their management capacity is pretty poor. What they are very good at is in propaganda. So they are trying to divert serious issues by sideshows. I am in no way condoning the behavior of a member of another political party in the steps of parliament. I am not doing that. But to make that the centrality of all the issues is rather unfortunate. You have expelled one member for a vehement critic of the government. You had a security breach. You have suspended 146 members. You have ran through laws in parliament without any discussion or debate, without ever recording divergent points of view. And then you want to ask me about a sideshow of one member? Yeah, I mean many found it distasteful. I mean, it could have been avoided, but that's not the centrality of issues we should be talking about. We should be talking about how DK Basu, the judgment in DK Basu has been completely watered down with this new law. I mean, the kind of draconian police powers that have been given to the authorities. That's what we should be talking about, not about some sideshow.
No, the sideshow is important because it has been politicized, Karthi. I mean, the chair himself said it's a matter of his community. The President of India tweeted about it.
That is very unfortunate. I mean, come on. So shall I say that I don't belong to any community. I do not know what class I belong to. But if any satire on me, any kind of spoof on me, any kind of attack on me, any cartoon on me is an attack on the entire class of people I support. I mean, or belong to. I don't understand that. I mean, you've traveled wide. If you in America, every late night talk show host makes fun of the president. Every single night. Not one night goes away with that. You've seen Saturday Night Live. You've seen all these stand-up comics. You've seen the talk show hosts. I mean, come on. I mean,
are you saying that Mr. Dhankar
it's satire. It happened.
Are you saying that he doesn't have a sense of humor?
Pardon? I think so. I think so. I mean, he could have found it distasteful. He could have left it, but to sort of to prolong this issue and to sort of dwell on this as if this is the centrality of all the issues of India is facing. I think that's actually trivializing what else this country is going through. I mean, I think it's also very ingenious on their part to divert this attention there, which in fact merits no more attention than the length of the act itself.
Okay, let me take this conversation to a different direction. The issues which really concerns a political party. For political party, the biggest worry can be that they become absent from the areas of operation. Do you feel that the results which came out and the wipeout of the Congress in North India is a cause of big worry? The party has lost its entire steam before the Lok Sabha?
First of all, I do not agree with the word wipeout. You see, in a first past the post system, you know that a marginal uptick in your vote share can give you a disproportionate number of seats. Yes, we have lost Madhya Pradesh with a slightly higher delta, but Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, the delta is very small. And the victory in Telangana is somehow overshadowed by these three results. If the Telangana result had been a standalone election, that would have given a big uplift to our mood. I understand what has happened in the three states. In Madhya Pradesh, it's actually been a bit of a shocker. Even though our vote share has not gone down, the BJP's vote share has gone up. But in the other two states, in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan, it's been very marginal. I mean, had we had a tactical alliance with a few political parties, the result could have been different. And in Rajasthan, you have this theory called ulta pulti, which I learned recently, how you do ulta pulti on the roti. That's what people do with governments every ulta pulta every 5 years. So that's the narrative in Rajasthan. So it's not a wipeout. Don't ever say the Congress gets wiped out. I mean, in a parliamentary democracy, you can just have a marginal victory but have a disproportionate number of seats. Like in parliament, the BJP wins only 31% of the votes last time, but they have nearly 60% of the seats. We won 19% of the vote. We only have 10% of the seats.
Do you think there's a South-North divide? BJP is absent in South and the Congress has no space in North?
That the point is that in the linguistic states, the states which do not speak Hindi as their first language and as a native language, definitely seem to be successfully pushing out the BJP because of their one this, one that, their Hindi-Hindutva politics. So Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra, the pushback is greater. But there is the divide in the South-North is because of language and the way that we perceive politics. But there are other differences as well in the South, and there are legitimate concerns the South has, particularly about a new delimitation which comes about. If it ever comes about purely on the basis of population, we will get disenfranchised. And economic parameters, of course, there is a difference. So there is a difference, but that's not some kind of it's not a divide. There's a difference, but it's not a divide between North and South.
And lastly, before I let go of you, do you think that the older leaders really spoiled Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, their squabbles, and where one person was in charge in Telangana, he delivered the state?
No, I think the people who are in charge in the Hindi-speaking states were all very, very seasoned campaigners. I think what we missed out was some tactical alliances which we should have made. You see, really in elections today, tactical ground-level alliances are very important, and we probably missed that out in the Hindi-speaking states. So that's my reading of the situation.
And lastly, before I let go of you, this is the second part of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. The Bharat Jodo Yatra created great momentum for the Congress party, but if you look at the results, only Telangana made the best of it, and now it's starting from east to the west. Do you think that it will have the capacity to create the same momentum, keeping in mind the results that are out now?
No, the Bharat Jodo Yatra will definitely add value to the party, but we still need to have a ground game. We need to have an organization. We need to have an organization which is just keeping in touch with people all the time, not necessarily only during election. So if we have an organization on the ground, that can leverage the energy of the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
What is the ground game?
We need to have party functionaries who are constantly interacting with the people, intervening where necessary, and constantly having some sort of a conversation with the people on social and political issues at the ground level. And we need to have, the BJP has social organizations outside the party which aids them in that exercise, whereas we don't have that. That is a shortcoming we have.
So how do you make up for that? It cannot be done in a 6 months' time, and RSS took more than 50 years.
It can't be done in the short term. I agree. It's not something which can be replicated immediately, but political parties can create narratives on the ground. And politics is very local. While there is a national trend, but the local ground game has to be strong. People have to be in local government. People need to be legislators. People need to keep on intervening and sort of having conversations all the time.
Thank you, Karthi Chidambaram, for joining me on my special show, The
Thank you
Interview.
very much.
Thank you so much. So this was Karthi Chidambaram on my special show, The Interview, talking about why the Parliament session failed.
Bangalore traffic is an example of something that has gone wrong with our system.
We have more than 50 flyovers in Bangalore city. If flyover is a solution to traffic problem, Bangalore should not have traffic problem.
According to TomTom Traffic Index 2022, Bangalore